Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right, man, folks, another beautiful day. True indeed, right? Thank you all. You know, we've been growing, building a worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. And I thank all of you for continuing to help me do that. I love you all. Please like, share, subscribe, click the notification button. Follow me on Twitter now. And tell everybody you know. Tell some folks you don't know. Let's continue to build this worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. All right. I'm going to try to keep this one pretty quick. I wanted to talk briefly about the prohibition on marijuana or cannabis, right? Unfortunately, it has been very successful for quite some time in this nation. But I don't think the average person has a good grasp on exactly how this transpired. A lot of marijuana, cannabis activists probably know a lot of this, but the average person probably doesn't. And what also is very concerning is the use of propaganda as a tool in conjunction with shaping public perception and then turning that into shaping policy and law, right? Harry Anslinger, right? One of the first, or the first commissioner of the Treasury, I believe. Back in the 30s, well, for quite some time, actually. He had a long run in government, very long, in fact. And he worked pretty much hand in hand with a, in my opinion, rather nefarious businessman, Mr. William Hearst. And Hearst Communications is a massive newspaper business, communications business. He ended up owning, I think, something like 20 major newspaper outlets, something like that. Huge readership. And he used his readership and his newspapers in some very unsavory and downright negative, low vibe ways. He was known for being rather not fond of minorities and actually was a very inflammatory individual who would use his newspaper platforms to incite tension between races, and would like to keep up that sort of negative energy and the negative things that resulted as a product of his keeping up propaganda and inciting tension between races and using his media platform to do so. He turned his attention to aiding Anslinger in the marijuana propaganda program. It was actually, the name of the campaign, I think, was Reefer Madness, right? And man, it was really pure propaganda, trying to make marijuana or cannabis out to be this notorious super addictive gateway drug that inevitably led all of its users um, to harsh narcotics, right? And that's simply not the case. And it's been known for quite some time that that's not the case. I remember personally how this reefer madness propaganda had grown from what it was in the 30s, 40s, and what it's developed into in modern day. Um, is man, it just even in school, right? They used to teach us that one joint equaled 10 cigarettes. Now, they didn't bother to talk anything in that little equation. First of all, that's a complete farce, right? That's just scientifically not correct. Um, and they didn't talk about all the, or rather, at least they downplayed the negative, addictive, carcinogenic, and other negative health impacts of cigarettes and tobacco use. Instead, they just villainized marijuana and cannabis. And again, it was propaganda. Most of it was, the majority, if not all of it, was simply not factual, right? They had no problem making things up and just using lies with no problem, and putting that in print, right? And even making television commercials to sway public opinion into believing all these negative lies and propaganda about marijuana. Now, what is particularly disturbing to me is the use of, or the, I don't know if use is correct, but yeah, sure, the use of a government official's office in order to launch a public propaganda and social engineering campaign that directly benefited businessmen. So we have that old axiom that we've seen of the nefarious handshake between government and corporate entities, right? This is a direct example of how you have a corporate entity in the form of the nefarious businessman and media tycoon using his platform, media, like we see done today, using multimedia in conjunction with an agenda that a nefarious government official has launched, emphasizing non-truths and, flat out lies and propaganda about something that they wanted to steer public opinion on. Honestly, at that point, it doesn't matter what it was. That's improper use of office. That is an improper conjunctive effort between corporate entities and government officials. And in that process, nowhere is the citizen represented, or the public represented. We'll stay away from that citizen term, as we don't consider ourselves honestly citizens of this corporate structure that they call America, as we are indigenous peoples to this land, right? But anyway, that's another subject. Yeah, just that improper use is an example of how something that became commonplace, and it is commonplace today. All of that improper use and the nefarious handshakes that go on behind closed doors, and even right in our face, between corporate entities and government officials who should be representing your best interest, and instead they are representing the best interest of corporations, right? And folks who are lining their pockets quite often, to put it bluntly. Um, but all of it is part of a broken system, is part of a broken paradigm that we have got to and have already begun to walk away from, which is exactly why those sort of socially economic elite individuals, groups, and organizations are in a panic right now. But yet and still, I wanted to bring up a quick example of some of what we're walking away from, because we now found out, and know, contrary to the propaganda and lies used in that reefer madness campaign, that marijuana, particularly cannabis, hemp, plants in that family, not only are not harmful in the ways described, or not addictive in the ways described, not to say that there's not potentially any addictive properties, right? But certainly not the way as described in the Reefer Madness campaign. And what is very much buried are all the benefits, right? A myriad of health benefits, even some commercial benefits, like the increased paper production yielded by the hemp plant. All these things played a part in those business owners using corporate influence, media influence, in conjunction with a nefarious propaganda effort launched by a government official. None of this is proper. None of it, nothing about it is proper. But it is commonplace, and has become commonplace, and that's an early example of how they did that. Again, this is what we're walking away from, and what we need to continue to walk away from. And you know what? When we do not lend our energy, right, for one, when we do not lend our support and our implied consent through our vote, then these efforts fail. They fall flat on their face. But knowing about it is the first step, and knowing what to walk away from and what to steer ourselves and our families toward in sovereignty, right? So again, this is an example, or was an example, of what we're walking away from, and we're doing that effectively. Again, that's why the social economic elite, those who are their puppets as well, are in complete flux, complete panic mode, and their behavior reflects that. If you just pay attention, their behavior reflects their level of panic, and with good reason, because there are things, again, just to wrap this up, that they are not in control of, that are lending themselves toward the evolutionary leap and toward the advancement and the awakening, the resurgence of growth in consciousness on the planet, that does not lend itself toward folks continuing to be usurped and dominated by, manipulated by, controlled by any class of socio-economic elite, right? We're done with that. So let's walk away from all of it, just like the propaganda of the Reefer Madness campaign. All right? Another thing, just to put a little PS on that, another reason why they wanted marijuana and other quote unquote what is classified as hallucinogens. Note I said classified, right? Another reason why they wanted them not in common circulation amongst the populace is because of their effects, right? Marijuana or cannabis can have some effects that would be aligned or described similar to the effects of ayahuasca, right? And other indigenous or tribal means of opening up other aspects of your consciousness. They don't want you playing around in your consciousness, folks. How else could I say it? They want you rooted in survival mentality, in fear, and in low vibrational frequency, basic mundane thought patterns, right? That's where they want you seated at. And some of those things tend to cause you to think. And sometimes you'll end up thinking about things and thinking about things in ways that they don't approve of or want to see happen. And that's been a big part of that effort or that campaign, the whole reefer madness and marijuana/cannabis prohibition. That's been a big part of that. So I don't want to leave that out as well. And again, all of which not for your benefit, right? Only for the benefit of the socioeconomic elite who want to continue to control you and the planet. But that just simply ain't going down. We ain't going out like that. No more. Decky, no more. We ain't going out like that no more. We just ain't. We come too far. We done already pushed past the precipice of us awakening. We are awakening in mass, right? People on this planet are awakening in mass right now. And that's going to continue to take place. And we're going to continue to thrive, growing in sovereignty, growing in awareness, raising our consciousness, raising our vibrational frequency. All these things are inevitable. In fact, they even are supported by where our entire solar system is in its galactic orbit. So folks, I know you might look at all these people with all this money and power doing all this. There's still things they can't control. You feel me? There's things that's above and beyond their reach, yet and still. So even though they might control the minds and motives of some of the folks and individuals that might find themselves succumbing to lower vibrational frequency influences, in general and in mass, they are failing. People are waking up in droves, right? Millions upon millions of people worldwide, and that's going to continue until the consciousness level on the planet is such that it simply does not continue to support the reign of the socio-economic elite, right? That's gone. That's gone. And you know what's in place of that. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Please continue, like, share, subscribe. Let's continue to grow this thing all together. Don't forget to click your notification button. Follow me on Twitter now. And let's keep this thing moving, man. We got them quaking in their boots. They quaking in their boots. Let's keep it up, man. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq. I'm out.